December 7th, 1941, 07:55 a.m. The USS West Virginia is a floating city of steel, and Dorie Miller is its invisible engine. Beneath the waterline, the air is thick with the smell of bleached linens and industrial soap. Dorie is 6'3", 200 pounds of pure muscle, the heavyweight boxing champion of the ship. But in the United States Navy, he is a mess attendant third class. His hands are meant for scrubbing floors, collecting laundry, and shining the shoes of officers who are forbidden from calling him an equal. The Navy of 1941 is governed by a rigid, unyielding law. Men like Dorie do not handle weapons. They do not train on the big guns. They do not lead. They serve. Dorie is in the middle of his morning routine, collecting dirty laundry from the officers' quarters when the first torpedo hits. It isn't a sound, it's a physical punch that heaves 33,000 tons of battleship into the air. The lights flicker and die. The hum of the ventilation system is replaced by the roar of seawater rushing into the lower decks. Dorie doesn't run for a life raft, he climbs up. He emerges into a world of orange fire and black oil. The West Virginia is being torn apart. 7 torpedoes have already ripped open the hull. Shrapnel is raining down like steel hail. Through the smoke, Dorie sees the bridge. It's a slaughterhouse. Captain Mervyn Bennion has been hit in the stomach by a jagged piece of a Japanese bomb. Dorie reaches the bridge. He finds the captain slumped over, his uniform soaked in blood. In any other circumstance, a mess attendant would never be on this deck, but the world is ending and the rules are melting away. Dorie reaches down and picks the captain up as if he were a child. He carries him through the fire, moving with the steady, calm strength of a man who knows he is the only chance the captain has left. He sets the dying captain behind the conning tower, trying to shield him from the strafing Zeros. The air is filled with the scream of engines and the smell of burning flesh. Dorie looks around. He is surrounded by high-tech weaponry, the most powerful anti-aircraft guns on the planet, and yet, because of the law, he has never been taught to load a single one. The deck is slick with oil and blood. The ship is listing hard to port. The captain is fading. Dorie Miller stands on the edge of history. A man who is legally a servant, standing in the middle of a war he isn't allowed to fight. The sky over Pearl Harbor is no longer blue. It is a choked, oily black. On the deck of the West Virginia, the heat is becoming unbearable. Dorie Miller looks at the 2.5 caliber Browning machine guns mounted nearby. They are sleek, terrifying instruments of death, and they are currently silent. The sailors assigned to them are either dead or wounded. Dorie has spent his entire career being told that these machines are too complex for him, that the technical skill required to lead a target and clear a jam is beyond his station. But as a Japanese Zero dives low, its wings sparking with tracer fire, Dorie realizes that the rules are a luxury for men who aren't currently drowning in fire. He steps toward the mount. There is no instructor. There is no training manual. There is only the memory of watching others pull the charging handles. He grips the spade handles. His large hands, scarred from the boxing ring and wrinkled from dishwater, wrap around the cold steel. He pulls the charging handle back with a violent snap, seating the first massive round into the chamber. The belt of ammunition rattles like a snake. He doesn't just pull the trigger. He lets out a scream that is lost in the roar of the engines.
The recoil of the .5 cal is a physical force that would knock a smaller man off his feet. But Dorie is an anchor. He leans his weight into the gun, the vibration rattling his teeth. He isn't just firing, he's learning. He watches his tracers, bright streaks of light, and begins to walk them into the path of the diving planes. He isn't thinking about the court-martial. He isn't thinking about the fact that he is technically stealing a weapon of the United States government. He is thinking about the planes. 1-0 comes in flat and fast, aiming for the heart of the ship. Dorie tracks it, leading the nose of the plane by a fraction of an inch, and squeezes. The heavy rounds tear through the aluminum skin of the Japanese aircraft. A plume of white smoke erupts from the engine, followed by a ball of orange fire. The plane cartwheels into the harbor, sending a geyser of oily water into the air. Dorie doesn't cheer. He just swings the heavy barrels. For 15 minutes, the cook is the most dangerous man on the water. He fires until the barrels are glowing red, until the ammunition boxes are empty, and until the order finally comes to abandon the ship. Only then does he let go of the handles. Only then does he remember that he is a mess attendant, standing on a deck he was never supposed to touch, having just done the one thing he was told he never could.
The fires at Pearl Harbor are still burning, but the Navy's PR machine is already at work. They release a report about a Negro mess attendant who performed heroic deeds, but they don't name him. For weeks, Dorie Miller is a ghost. In the offices of the Pittsburgh Courier and other black newspapers, reporters are hunting for the identity of this hero. The Navy High Command doesn't want a name. They want a nameless anomaly that doesn't challenge the segregation laws. But the public demand is too loud to ignore. May 27, 1942. The deck of the USS Enterprise is a stage of a collision of two Americas. Admiral Chester Nimitz, the man in charge of the entire Pacific Fleet, stands across from the cook from Waco, Texas. This isn't just a ceremony, it is a fracture in the system. Nimitz pins the Navy Cross, the second highest honor in the service, onto Dorie's crisp white uniform. It is the first time in the history of the United States that a black sailor has received such an honor. Dorie is sent back to the United States. He is no longer just a sailor, he is a symbol. His face is plastered on recruitment posters. He is sent on a grueling tour of the States to sell war bonds. But as he stands on stages in front of thousands, a bitter irony shadows him. He has the Navy Cross on his chest, but in many of the cities he visits, he still cannot eat in the same restaurants or sit in the same sections of the theater as the men he saved. He is a hero to the country, but still a second-class citizen to the law. The fame is short-lived. The Navy does not promote him to a combat role or make him an instructor. They send him back to the sea. They send him back to the galley. In late 1943, Dorie is serving aboard the escort carrier Liscum Bay. On the dark morning of November 24th, near the Gilbert Islands, a Japanese torpedo strikes. It isn't just a hit, it finds the ship's bomb magazine. The resulting explosion is so violent that the ship is torn in half instantly. Within 23 minutes, the Liscum Bay is gone. Dorie Miller is never seen again. He vanishes into the Pacific, a hero who died exactly as he lived, serving a Navy that was still afraid to let him lead. For decades, his story is kept alive in the hearts of his family and the black community, a testament to what a man can do when given nothing but an opportunity. But history has a long memory. The seeds Dorie planted on that bloody Sunday in 1941 eventually forced the hand of the military. The Navy integrated, the laws changed, and 80 years later, the ultimate recognition arrives. In 2020, the Navy announces that the newest Gerald R. Ford-class supercarrier will be named the USS Dorie Miller. He went from a man washing laundry in the dark of a battleship to having his name carved into the hull of a nuclear-powered giant. Dorie Miller didn't just shoot down planes, he shot down a century of doubt. He remains the ghost in the machine, the cook who refused to wait for permission to be a hero.
Intel secured. If this report earns your respect, like and subscribe for more. You've finished the full file. Well done. Welcome to the squad.